Welcome back. Okay, today we're tackling one of the most important make or break financial decades of your entire life, your 30s. This is that time when, yeah, your income is finally starting to climb, but guess what? So are the temptations. We are going to pull back the curtain and unmask the hidden financial traps that can seriously and quietly sabotage your future. All right, let's get into it.
I want you to just look at this number for a second. $280,000. Now imagine two people. They're the same age, they have basically the same career, they even live in the same city. But by the time they hit their 40s, one of them has nearly 300 grand more in net worth than the other. How on earth is that possible? We're not talking about a lottery win or some crazy crypto bet. The answer isn't in some big, flashy event. Nope, it's hidden in their day-to-day choices. And this quote it gets right to the heart of the matter. The road to that massive wealth gap, it's paved with things that society tells us are totally normal, things you're supposed to do. So today, we're going to put these so-called wealth killers under the microscope and figure out exactly how to sidestep them.
Let's be really clear here. This massive difference we're talking about doesn't come from one giant screw-up. It's more like death by 1,000 cuts. It's the result of a whole bunch of small, what seem like totally harmless choices that just compound and compound over a decade. It's all about the subtle habits that are either quietly building your wealth or slowly draining it dry.
So, to really understand how this happens, we need to talk about this super powerful concept that economists have zeroed in on. It's called the behavior gap, and honestly, it's the real reason why just knowing what to do with your money is a completely different thing from actually doing it. So, what in the world is this behavior gap? Well, to put it simply, it's the space between a perfect plan on paper and messy reality. You might have an awesome investment strategy that should earn you, say, 8% a year. But if you get spooked and sell when the market dips, or you just kind of forget to invest regularly, your actual return might be more like 5%. That little 3% difference year after year, that's the behavior gap. And it is an absolute monster when it comes to destroying wealth. And this slide right here, it shows us the solution perfectly. Check this out. A study from Vanguard found that people who had to consciously, voluntarily choose to save money, well, they saved about 6.5% of their income. But, and this is the key, the people who were automatically enrolled and had to actively choose to opt out, they saved 8.5%. That's almost 30% more savings. Why? One word. Automation. It closes that behavior gap by making the right choice the easy default choice. Okay, now let's get into the big ticket items. We're talking about those major purchases that society practically throws a parade for, the milestones of success. But the truth is, they can be financial traps in disguise, quietly siphoning away your ability to build real wealth for years to come. This breakdown just lays it all out. When you buy too much house, you're not just signing up for a bigger mortgage. Oh no, you're signing up for higher property taxes, bigger repair bills, more expensive insurance, and this constant pressure to fill all that empty space with more stuff. And it's the exact same story with the luxury car. It's not the payment that gets you. It's the premium fuel, the sky-high insurance, the crazy expensive parts, and the absolutely brutal depreciation. These things aren't assets, they're financial black holes. And this right here, this is the huge mental shift we all have to make. We're taught to see a big house or a fancy car as an asset, right? A sign you've made it. But when you look at the numbers, they often act way more like liabilities. They're lifestyle choices that just demand more and more of your money, leaving way less for your actual investments. The things that will truly make you wealthy. All right, let's move from the giants to the termites. It's not just the huge purchases. There are these smaller, sneakier leaks that can be just as damaging over time, precisely because they're happening every single day, every month, without you even noticing. Let's just look at two classic examples. Whole life insurance. It sounds great, right? An all-in-one savings and insurance deal. But man, the high fees can absolutely crush your returns. You are almost always better off buying cheap term life insurance and just investing the difference yourself. And then you've got the brand name premium. Always choosing the designer label or the fancy coffee over a perfectly good alternative, it's like a voluntary tax you pay for status, and it adds up to a small fortune over a decade. Okay, so we've identified the traps. The big ones, the little ones, they are literally everywhere, and they're all disguised as just normal life. So the obvious question is, what in the world do we do about it? How do we fight back? The antidote is to start thinking of your 30s as your decade of discipline. But wait, this isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself. Not at all. It's about consciously building a rock-solid financial foundation that is going to pay you back for the rest of your life. It's all about being intentional. And the path to get there is actually a pretty simple 3-step game plan. First up, awareness. You've got to take an honest look at your own spending and pinpoint where these wealth killers are hiding. Second, automation. You have to close that behavior gap. Set up those automatic transfers to your savings and investments the second you get paid. And third, intentionality. Before you make one of those normal purchases, just pause and ask yourself, is this really getting me closer to my long-term goals, or is it just something I want right now? This is such a critical point. Discipline has this really bad reputation. We hear that word and we think of misery and saying no to everything fun. But that is not it. True financial discipline is one of the most powerful acts of self-care you can do. It is you, today, telling your future self, hey, don't worry, I've got your back. I'm taking care of us. It's about choosing the incredible freedom of having options later over the quick, fleeting buzz of having more stuff right now. So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. After hearing all this, what is just one normal financial choice in your own life that maybe, just maybe, you'll look at a little differently now? Because that tiny shift in your perspective, that could be the one thing that starts to change everything. Thanks so much for tuning in.